Hello, universe. Hello, nerds. It's me. I'm a Watcher DM. I play a Dungeons and Dragons. You should come and hang out with me while I talk about playing a Dungeons and Dragons and do a little bit of digital painting. Um, Something I have recently kind of been getting a little bit better at. I'm excited to say. So I'm gonna start a new piece tonight, and it should be kind of a lot of fun. Um, but first, I wanted to do a little D&D Q&A, which I used to do on my channel a little bit more regularly, and I'm gonna kind of do it while I draw. So what I do for this usually is I will crack open one of the many D&D groups that I'm on in the Facebook world and answer questions from that forum here extemporaneously, or I will actually read out like just what and kind of add color to what my answer was. So I had a question today that I absolutely adore because it fit right in line with something I personally have experienced and loved. And so that I will just out with it now. Chris Reed, 36 minutes ago, writes, I need ideas. I need ideas. One of my players made a pact with a genie and now owes him 2 favors. What sort of favors would a genie ask for aside from being let free? And to give you some color on my answer, I play with a really good friend of mine, Andrew Ferguson, who is amazing role player, an amazing DM, also very talented actor. And he plays a satyr warlock named Zorgos, who has a genie patron. I think it's from the Tasha's book. I'm not 100% sure, but he did the genie patron, and he did his character up as basically all of his magic comes out of this bottle, right? It comes out of this lamp, this vessel, and that was cool. And then he also had this cat. He just had a cat. Was like, yeah, I want a pet. I have a cat, and we were in an adventure and this cat was around and I was like, and then the genie came out and did something and then went back in the bottle and I was like, what? So the way that Zorgos described it is his genie is kind of like an obnoxious, overpowered roommate, right? Who like lives in the tiny room and complains about it endlessly. And I was like, oh, so your genie roommate has you cat sitting, huh? What, the litter makes his lamp smell? And we all, of course, laughed and just had a good time about it. And, of course, at the end, like, all that was left was agreement that this was the most amazing idea. Yes, the genie is cat sitting. So my answer was, you must watch my cat! The other favor should be to do something super deadly, which now the character must do whilst keeping the cat safe. You know, shitty roommate moves. Which I thought was pretty hilarious. Of course, thinking you are clever is not unique to being a DM, but I think I'm kind of clever. And a lot of other people do. I'm getting like a hell of a lot of love on this. Like lots of likes and ha-has and doody-doos. This one is and a reply to my comment. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna see what somebody said here. I hope it's hate. I really like it when people just put the cat in the box with a single atom of U-238, a detector, a hammer, and a vial of poison. Go on the trip. When you get back, hand the box to Genie and tell him the cat is both alive and dead at the same time until he opens the box. Way to bring Schrodinger into my D&D, bruh. Anyway, we already have enough uncertainty. Have you ever rolled a dice? Come on. So, Dustin Dame, 36 minutes ago, says, confession time. I like confession time, by the way. One of my favorite acts. I have yet to run or play in a game that bothers with spell components. There's always an ongoing assumption that magic users are prepared with whatever they need to cast whatever spell they know. For me, it has always felt like an annoying thing to keep track of and check in on every time I cast a spell. I realize that some components are more rare and or costly than others, and the concept exists for balance purposes and to add some weight to spell casting and stop certain spells from being spammed. But so far, it has never felt like a problem to essentially omit them from the game. I'm curious how others run spell components if you find it to be a necessary aspect. So, this is a great question. I literally, just the other day, was bemoaning the fact that not only are spell components kind of this ridiculous optional thing in the game, but also, like, they don't seem to have any real, like, relevance to the spells that you're casting, like, in a story sense, right? Like, if I'm casting Sending, actually, what's interesting is, in a lot of cases, they do. So, like, let's look up the Sending spell. Sending 5e, I think, is a good one, because it's got, if I remember correctly, I may not, components. A short piece of fine copper wire, right? Now, this to me implies that what it's doing really is like some kind of antenna, right? And so, realistically, like, to cast a message spell, right, you kind of need like imagining that it's actually an antenna, you kind of need both people to have one of these, right? And you probably might need like a lodestone, right? Maybe like to like provide like a magnet for like the pickup on a microphone or a speaker, and then wrap the coil around it and do all the work. Like, the way that I think about magic in my games a lot of the time is like, it's technology that's just poorly understood. Now, that is a super unpopular opinion about magic, and I get it. I think it's fine if people want their magic to be super magical. I like having super magical magic, and I like having really ridiculous stuff. But when playing a wizard, I like to imagine that the wizard seems to think that he knows a thing or two about how reality works and how it can be bended to your will. And when I think about that, I think about Sir Isaac Newton observing light, or Einstein proposing how time and space work, or, Hawkins thinking about, well, how does energy and information work in a black hole? Like, these are the wizards of our time, and they stand on the shoulders of wizards of the past, right? Like, we can look kind of at the scientific method that we have today, and a lot of it derives from, going back and looking at, oh, well, let's look at this thing that they say is true and observe it and what actually happens. So, I know that does not help at all with the spell component bit, but I think it would be super interesting to canonize and kind of create a magic system that does not just hand wave components and instead focuses explicitly on them. So instead of having the schools of magic the way that we have them today in Dungeons & Dragons, you would have the magics, the different magics of man, right? So this comes from the notion that all magic is the ability of man to craft meaning and usefulness from magics that are latent in the world around us, right? So physical things have properties and attributes that can be used. This is the magic of matter, or the magic of the world, right? The magic of the hand is the ability to manipulate the world, right? Our ability to, like, kind of use our hands to change things and manipulate them to do our will. And then the magic of the word is really fundamentally kind of the base magic, and it's the thing that allows us to take ideas and transmit them to each other. And through that, that's a very powerful magic, right? In fact, it is a magic that we have today, and we use all the time. And if you say it's not magic, tell me that you understand why language works as a technology, and I will listen, because that would be interesting if somebody actually knows how that works. But I think it is still being studied. It is still very interesting, and it's unique that humans feel like we uniquely have this characteristic, but we know that other creatures talk to each other. We know that they are communicating at some level, and that level is very complex. It has a lot of nuance to it. So yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting, weird, nerdy shit. Anyway, let's get into a little drawing before I get too deep into blowing smoke at my own ass. So many loves on this, so many likes. Anyway, thank you so much, Dustin Dame, for posting that. I think it's a really great question. There are also, if you get to check this out, I think it's on the D&D DMs only group. So yeah, look for Dustin Dame's post, and please comment on there and read some of the other comments. They all seem to be really good. Although they do, a lot of them decry the same problem. Nana Osaki says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but floor plans for malls, shopping centers make excellent inspo for building dungeons. This is a pretty well-known meme, but they actually provided examples. I thought this was really cool, actually. And yeah, they're absolutely right. They are great inspiration for dungeons and stuff. So, or for really anything, right? Temples, castles. Like, you know, we tend to forget like how frequently like humans just reuse shit in the past to fit our needs today. The structure of rooms has not changed, right? The human body hasn't changed enough for that to be a thing. Beds have been beds for a really, really long time. So, anyway, just a little interesting side note there. Anyone else get really annoyed when you need to repeat what's going on because players don't pay attention? We play online over Skype, and two players in particular are always wanting to carry on side conversations, meaning they miss details of what's going on, slowing the game and adding general frustration to the game. When I've brought it up, they generally don't understand the problem they're causing. I could see that being frustrating. I could see that being annoying. And I understand it, right? I have had this happen for sure at lots and lots of tables. It is very common, especially for new players, or especially for extra social players who are just like, you know, they're talkative, they want to be engaged socially through the game experience, and getting a big dump of exposition can be very trying for them. So one thing I would suggest to approaching this, right, is first of all, put yourself in their shoes. Try and understand what about the play is allowing them to tune out. It's very possible that you have. By the way, we are going to. I think I'm going to draw the cat. I think I need to draw the genie's cat. So we're just going to do. I'm going to do the most ridiculous thing and search for images of cat on the internet. Cat. Okay, hi cat. Oh, it looks just like my baby. Okay, so we're gonna try and do it with the cat here while I blah blah at you. Anyway, so I think a good place to start, right, is with empathy. I think this is a good tool for all of the game. Like, really, there's kind of not a lot in Dungeons and Dragons that cannot be helped by exercising a dash of empathy, which can be very tricky because, you know, we have expectations about what our experience is going to be, and those are normal and valid. And I think one of the interesting things that keeps popping up is the DM is a player too, right? Like, this is a big deal. Like, we do have to account for the fact that the DM is allowed to have wants and needs within the context of the game, and the players at a certain level are, you know, should live up to some of those expectations. Like, that's kind of the social contract. Like, when they talk about the social contract in gaming, that's kind of what they're talking about. Oh, fuck me. I did the thing. I always do this, by the way. I'm so annoyed by this. God damn it. Alright. Whatever. We're just gonna... And... okay, so the thing that I did that I fucked up is, and I always screw this up, I forgot to create another layer for the dark, for the ink. The background is now with the ink, and now... Oh. Doing it again. This is normal. This one is dark in. Or actually, we'll do multiply. I think multiply is the right thing to do here. So yeah, start with imagining what might be causing this behavior in them, right? And then I would say, you know, from there, if you can figure out what, like, if the expositions are long and they need shorter bites of more clear information, fine. Like, that is a thing you can do. Another thing that can really help is to take expositional information that you know is going to have to come out in the game, hype it up beforehand, right, and be ready to copy and paste that shit into chat. And just do it. Just do it when you say it. Just be like, oh, you want to catch up? Fine. It's in the chat. You are welcome to read it, right? And that has solved a lot of problems for me. Especially, not even, like, people not paying attention problems. Sometimes it's audio problems, right? Sometimes it's technological problems. All kinds of weird shit. Live your toad-looking dreams. By the way, new exciting things today. Oh my god. We released this morning the Moon Elves Masquerade. If you haven't gone and checked it out, please go check it out. It was really good. I got to play test it myself. It was super, super fun. Actually, Zorgos was in that one. That's where we discovered that the cat was with the genie, was in that adventure. Anyway. So that's one thing that I think would potentially help, right? Is having kind of canned content kind of ready to go, to drop in and let your players just read at their own speed and in their own context what you're saying, right? What you're trying to get across. I think wrong here. I'm gonna go with get this eye shape, big fatty eye shape, little cute nose thing. Yeah, this is gonna be a big dark bloop bloop. Ick. The other ones are looking dope too. Right. So the other thing we did is we released a couple of shirts. Now I know nobody fucking buys shirts, especially not on the internet. That's such a stupid idea. But the reality is, I have commissioned kind of a ridiculous amount of artwork for our modules. So if you haven't noticed, if you're unfamiliar with Watcher DM brand, one of our kind of driving things is we do not want, like, I totally love all the stuff that's out there, right, that is people creating with what exists. For me, I want to create new art, right? I want to create new content, and I don't want people to look at our modules. Go buy all the shirts, Spectrum Bird! Spectrum Bird, I'm so glad you're here. I don't want people to come in and, you know, look at our stuff and go, oh, I remember this image from this DM Dave module, or from this thing on Alamy, or from the 50 million other modules I see on the internet, right? Like, I get it. It's a great way, it's a very cost-effective way to make these modules, and trust me, modules, not cheap to make. I found out. Like, it's ridiculous, actually. I have no idea how anybody makes any money in this industry without just cutting every fucking corner. But, yeah, not interested, right? I want people to look at our stuff and go, wow, I've never seen that before. I love it. It speaks to me, it's different, it's unique, and it makes me want to... It fills the world in for me. It doesn't just use some pastiche of an existing fantasy or an existing idea to get me there. It does the extra work to get me there. And, you know, it's funny, I took a class from DM Dave about this, how to do module development. And, like, one of his first things was, like, do not try and be special, right? Do not try. It's just not worth it. And he's right. Like, if your objective is to be, air quotes, successful in, you know, the fantasy Dungeons and Dragons universe, you're probably going to have to really compromise on a lot of ideas you have about quality and a lot of ideas you have about, you know, your world and your setting and your lore. What's interesting is, so I went into that thinking, oh, you know, I'm a DM of many, many years. I, you know, will be able to write my own modules. Got through the process of it, and by the time I was done with the class, I was like, holy shit. Just doing this task is so much fucking work that if I were to do it by myself, I would either never publish anything, because it would never get done, or the quality would be so low that nobody would ever want to read it, and I wouldn't want anybody to read it, right? Um, and so we're gonna punch this down a bit, and we're gonna start blocking in some of these more interesting shapes here. I really love this little cat nose, dark eye. God, they always, why do they look like they have like eyeliner? So beautiful. I could just, well, cat eyes are so gorgeous to me. Little kitties. So yeah, I went through that process and came out the other side and was just like, okay, if I want to make modules, there's a few things I'm just gonna have to accept, right? I'm not a killer writer. I'm an okay writer, maybe even passable. It might even approach good every once in a while, but I really should be paying a writer. That's how I'm gonna get the best quality. To that end, I was fortunately able to basically make a pact with my patron, Austin Holm, whom wrote the Doom Desert in the Decanter of Delirium, which, by the way, is coming very soon to the Drive Through RPG. Is where we're going to be, one of the places we're going to be hosting it. Of course, if you want to pick it up, you are welcome to pick it up on the Watcher DM website, for which we keep all the proceeds. We'll keep is kind of a silly word. We get all of the proceeds, and then we, of course, use that to make more modules, is the plan anyway. But yeah, so that's exciting. We're also hard at work and closing in on the release of the Doom Desert on the Roll20 marketplace, which is pretty exciting. No guarantees, right? They might be like, nope, this is garbage, get out of here. But I kind of doubt it. It actually looks pretty solid right now, and you can actually watch some of our other VODs and kind of get a sense of where that's at, what that product looks like. But so Austin wrote the Doom Desert and also wrote the Moon Elves Masquerade, the module that dropped today. And Austin and I have just honestly had, I couldn't have asked for a better partner in this regard, not just because of Austin, but because of big drunk bird over here, Austin's fiance. Congratulations again. Is likewise a tremendous creative talent, and I know that they've been working together, and he bounces ideas off of her, and we just get some really high quality stuff out of both of them. Blog posts, all kinds of great stuff. So it's been an amazing relationship for me. And it, part of that, right, is just saying, like, it is irrelevant what I thought I was going to be producing as a content creator, right? It's like every DM has some grand idea of their own world and how it's going to look. And so I think, it's very natural as a content creator to be like, well, I want to create my content, right? I want to make my stuff. And looking at today, what we've made, I'm like, God, I am so glad we didn't make my dumb bullshit. And we instead went with Austin's truly inspired ideas about what an adventure not only should be, but kind of could be. Because, like, at least in the case of, in the case of really both of them, both of the modules have really unique features to them, right? That are just, you're not going to find in a lot of places. There's enough to describe what some of the stuff is, because it's not just absurd. It's kind of like, it's really there's a certain way of looking at it where, like, if you squint, you're like, wow, this is for DMs with, like, a higher college grade reading level, right? Like, you kind of have to know a thing and think about a thing every once in a while to really kind of appreciate this content at the level that I think it can be appreciated. And we had that conversation, right? We had this very kind of frank discussion about, hey, what are we making? Like, these are some really highbrow pieces. Like, we actually included a glossary of terms in our Moon Elves module because I said I think we fucking need it. Like, I don't want, DMs to be turned off because they don't know a thing, and I'd really want them to benefit, right, by reading, cool, I don't know this word. Now I'm learning it, and now the module has not just given them a creative outlet and an exercise for their friends, it has also given them an opportunity to learn something new, expand their vocabulary, expand their kind of, theoretical mental horizons, and just kind of unlock some extra stuff. And I think there's a lot of juice there, right? Like, that's where the value of kind of the rest of our creative exercises go. Reading fiction and reading philosophy and listening to music, right? The nature of kind of observing and ingesting and digesting art, cumulative impact on the human mind, where it becomes more flexible and malleable and more interesting. We just get a lot more value out of it than you would think, given the fact that you might be sitting there watching a fucking anime, right? Like, you're not thinking about the moral implications or philosophical lessons you're learning from it. But it's true. In fact, I was just listening to a podcast the other day. Malcolm Gladwell. I'm sure everybody knows who that is at this point, but if you don't, Malcolm Gladwell is kind of a luminary journalist from the last while, and he is quite talented. Gosh, okay, where are we at here? What am I doing with this? Need to punch in. We're gonna punch in. We're just gonna go down here. We're gonna start doing some more detail-y kind of. These first strokes are absolutely gonna kill me, because these are gonna be super hard to get the texture right. But we're gonna do it anyway. We're diving in. Anyway, Malcolm Gladwell, on his podcast Revisionist History, had an interview with a woman who is a law professor, I believe, and she has released a paper and a study about the impact of how law is presented in Disney movies, and how that impacts, and it's not just law, but like law and morality, law and kind of ethics, and how that has impacted people, namely children, right, since the 60s to the 90s, right? Like, this was kind of the golden years of Disney, and oh gosh, look at these baby beautiful eyes. Wow, you're so good looking. We need some nose scritches over here. Some cutie little bits. Sorry, I talked to even imaginary cats, apparently. Anyway, it was a really interesting podcast. I didn't read the article, but I plan on it. And it kind of spoke to something in me, right, where I was like, yeah, actually, I kind of get what you're talking about. Like, I remember the thinking when I was young, like, wow, Ursula has all this power wrapped up in this contract, right? So much so that the king of the fucking sea couldn't do shit about it. Blast it with this trident, and nothing. It's legally binding, right? But that's not what the law is about, right? The law is supposed to be about justice. It's not supposed to be about upholding the fucking indentured servitude of a fucking child. Like, right? It's just like the worst possible scenario for representative law. And it's interesting because from a very young age, I have had an immense distrust of law. I've, avoided largely doing things that involve legal processes because you kind of feel like you're making a deal with the devil, right? And I think at a certain level, that's kind of the trope, right? That's kind of what they were leaning on in that case. Oops, oops. I think we're. Am I fucking this up? I might be fucking this up. So many bings on the Bing board. How many bings do I need? You like my album? I made an album? Oh, it's my Instagram posts. Word. Word. Commented on my post. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Get out of it. I don't need to be following the internet. I'm doing the art. We'll do the stinking art. We'll do the internet later. I'm drawing cats. How much more internet do you need? Anyway. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty poignant revelation. But it also speaks to, at a certain level, like how much of our attitudes about the world around us are informed by the media that we consume, right? Like, and not just media that we consume. Like, media is a method or a means of storytelling, right? So it's really about the stories that you create in the minds of people, and those have an enormous impact. God, this cat's kind of looking not too shabby. With enough work. I'm going to draw these little bits in here, but they're actually going away later because this kitty is lit from the side. And so we're going to end up kind of rejiggering some of this. But I want to get these lines in here. Doopy-doo. Okay, they're not pointy. They're a little bit rounded. Meesh. God, where was I? Fuck, how did I even get into that topic? What the hell was I talking about? Yeah, I can't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. If you remember, post something in chat. It's irrelevant. I'm gonna read another one here, and I'm gonna answer it. Oh god, this is a long one. Okay, I don't know if I want to deal with that one, honestly. Panicking a bit, 2 of my players got bitten by werewolves and failed the con saving throw. What am I going to do? Play with 2 werewolves? I never had them as an encounter in my short DM experience, so I have no idea how to roleplay or fix this. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks in advance. You're welcome in advance, because I am sure my advice is going to be completely fucking useless. Man, you really screwed yourself there. Just kidding. Werewolves are not nearly so bad. So, when players get lycanthropy, you, as the DM, are welcome to treat it as a disease. They do not control their lycanthropic character when they are under the influence of the shapeshift. So, according to the stat block, werewolves can use a shape change ability. Actually, let me do a quick heckin' Google here. Well, yeah, it is a Google actually. I should be using DuckDuckGo. That's what I should be using, to be fair. Shape changer. The werewolf can use its action to polymorph into a wolf humanoid hybrid or into a wolf, or back into its true form, which is humanoid. Its statistics, other than its AC, are the same in each form. Any equipment it is wearing or carrying isn't transformed. It's reverted to its true form if it dies. So, the way that I would do this is, first of all, you may want to let your players in on the fact that they are now werewolves, right? That the time is coming when they will become uncontrollable, ravenous monsters. And then give them a way to avoid that fate, right? Like, you don't need to hand it over to them on a silver platter, but I personally would advise making a perfectly doable quest that will, alleviate them of the werewolf lycanthropy. Now, actually, it just so happens next week we are going to be releasing a module called Lair of the Lycan Cultists. That's a working title, but it might be a good adventure for somebody who has lycanthropy, right? Because this is basically about a group of cultists who want to become werewolves or want to become better werewolves, want to become more perfect. And it's not even just werewolves; it's actually were everything's. There's were rats, there's werewolves, there's were bears, so the whole sheboygan. But anyway, they are of the opinion that the were creature aspect of them is powerful, just, right, and worth having, exploring, and expanding. So, it might make a good adventure for this. But basically, if you provide them some quest that they can go on to get a solution to their ills, right, then it's just an adventure for you. If they fail right before the full moon or whatever, right, or if they ever decide to use their power, all that happens is you take control of their character. So, what I would do is have a couple character sheets lying around that can basically be handed over to them for when their character is oh god, this one is super good too. Yeah, so anyway, give them a character sheet while you're controlling their werewolf character, and then just change back when the werewolf is done doing the dirty work, right? Like, but it should have some consequence. Like, it is always fun to go, yeah, you really murdered that whole group of people, like, and it was not controlled, and like you peed on them. Like, what the fuck is, you're a dog man. Like, what the hell? So yeah, play with that. Let them feel the moral impact of that. I think it's fine. Unless they're really not cool with that, and then, just fade to black for it. That's fine too. Lines and veils, right? Anyway, that was that question. I think that's a sufficient answer. Best of luck to you and your werewolf problem. Ben Sartori, 14 hours ago, asks, how would you rule two opposing mages using Mage Hand? One mage is trying to grab the MacGuffin with Mage Hand. The other is trying to use Mage Hand to stop the other Mage Hand. Can it be done? I guess I picture a comical Three Stooges moment. So, my immediate feeling about this was, throw the rules away, have a fucking thumb war. The mage hands have a thumb war, let the players have a thumb war at the table. Obviously, this doesn't work for, like, virtual games or whatever, digital, but in a real-world experience, going, yep, sorry, you gotta thumb war each other, I think would be a hilarious interlude to the game. And so, yeah, mage hand thumb war. If you could come up with the rules for an actual mage hand thumb war, I think that would be sufficient for any kind of online experience, as long as you really kind of thoroughly describe the ridiculousness of these two mage hands, kind of just trying to, out floop each other or whatever the dupe is called. Just use floop and dupe randomly like they're real words. They're fucking totally not, so thanks for flooping my dupe. I promise never to dupe you, flooper. Anyway, where was I? Kitty, kitty I love, kitty with the big whiskers, I love her so much. Ah, so pretty. So pretty. Isn't that starting to look like a good kitty? That was a good kitty. Alright, I'm gonna push this up a little bit so I can fill this in a little faster, because there's a lot of... Kitty's got a lot of kind of black on the back. Oh yeah, I need to... By the way, the secret to great art, it turns out, is fucking reference. I've known this for a long time, and... It's only recently that I've actually started using any kind of real reference in my art, which is, better late than never, I guess. Like, I shouldn't be complaining, but holy crap, I could probably be way farther along in my art skills if I had Just literally listened to what everybody has ever been telling me about art. Kind of funny. And ironically, I've known this for so many years. I've done some acrylic paintings. I've done some, I've been dabbling in art since I was young, and all my best pieces, guess what? They all had reference. It was always reference. So seems kind of ridiculous that I would drop the ball on that for so long, so hard. Boop, boop, boop. All right, we've got some ear stuff we got to do. Ears on cats are, for me, hard. Not enormous fan. I'm gonna try it. Try doing this right. So, anyway, yeah, that was one of my answers from a while back that I thought was good. Did not get a ton of love, but here we go. This is good. This one I tried to answer, and I think I did a piss poor job. So I'm gonna try it again here in this new format. A DM looking for advice regarding improv. Drag this over here, so I can keep looking at the cat. Oh God, that's not what I wanted. I just want this image. No, I don't want that. I want just this image. Open image in new tab. Oh, so good. So here's the deal. I have a group of 4 players. We play via Discord, Roll20, and D&D Beyond. Good choice. I hope you're using Beyond 20, because that totally makes it fucking worth doing that way. Sopa amaruchan con estupefacientes. Stupefacientes. I get it. I mispronounced whatever that is supposed to be. I hope it's not your real name, but if it is, I'm sorry. I tend to prep for 2 sessions ahead. I set up the maps I think I'm going to need, the tokens, music, etc. I'm pretty good-ish at coming up with dialogue and characters on the fly. Here is my problem. Yesterday, they were on queue. I think they were in the haunted house. That is just a cover-up for the entrance to a hidden tomb underground. They had explored the entire house and found the secret door leading to the tomb. They had a little fight with some ghostly hounds guarding it, but then got spooked and wanted to exit the house ASAP. The tomb had important plot information, so in a futile effort to herd them inside, organically, in quotes, I told them that they hear a squad of guards outside. I figured that would do the job, but one of them casted Disguise Self, another one Charm Person, and another one Modify Memory to make one of the party members pass as a guard, arresting the rest of the party. Now I think this is freaking awesome and creative, I agree. So the guards naturally have to get them to HQ. Here is my problem. I didn't have a map for the guard HQ, or tokens. So I had to set them up, make them in the fly, and that really slowed down the pace of the session. What should I have done? Prepping for every decision possible is unrealistic. But then, what should I do on this case to not hurt the pacing and fun of the session? TLDR, how do I deal with unexpected scenarios that requires... By the way, TLDR, put it at the fucking top. Like, copy and paste that shit to the top. The TLDR is something you want to read at the beginning, not at the fucking end. So, minus points, Sopa. If that is in fact your real name. Anyway. How do I deal with unexpected scenarios that require battle maps, tokens, or music that I didn't prepare? So, This is a sign of the times, and I would argue that you probably do not need as much battle maps, tokens, or music as you imagine, right? There is a method of play called Theater of the Mind that will do absolutely fine for, oh, honestly, 100% of encounters. There is no need in Dungeons and Dragons to have um, tokens and stuff. They are nice. They are very fun to have. They are amazingly fun to collect and paint, etc., etc. And they can even add a bit of immersion to the game. But need, not a thing. You do not need them. And I would argue that using them too much as a crutch will put you in a position like the one that you're in, where you feel like you are unprepared if you do not have that tool at hand. And that's a risk. It's a risky maneuver. It sounds like you're not having a great time with that risk. So if you're not enjoying that risk and you want to mitigate it, I would advise practicing DMing without it. Try to DM without those tools and see how it goes. You don't have to be perfect at it. Nobody's expecting you to understand right away like how all that's gonna, the nuances of it, how it's gonna work. But I think you will be doing yourself a huge favor to experience it and kind of, get your feelers about it. Understand what's available to you, right? Now, that kind of aside, there is actually another practical thing I can say about this because I have a campaign world that we play in pretty regularly. That is, it's fairly complex and it's open world, so the players can kind of literally go wherever they want and kind of do whatever they want. And this has opened us up a lot of times to going like, oh crap, yeah, they're going somewhere else. What do we do? And the reality is that what I have historically done is to just go ahead and grab. So I will prep content for more than I need, right? I will create like things that I know are going to exist that the players might end up going to. Even really kind of mundane like locations, and I will just grab those, stick them in Roll20, no names, nothing to it, right? Just fucking slap them at the end of the list and look for them. Now, one thing I will say, and I absolutely hate this about Roll20, and I think it's probably my number one feature request. If we had this in the game, I feel like it would just be a better game in Roll20. This is very specific to Roll20, so don't imagine that I'm about to say something really revelatory. It's not. But in Roll20, right, you have the journal, which allows you to search for all your game stuff, right? And that game stuff, like, it's got your handouts and little notes and tokens, all the shit that you would need to run your game. The maps for the game, on the other hand, are at the top of the page, behind a little flappy, closey, openy window thing. Now, that device is a scrollable, unsortable, unsearchable fucking box of images. And I don't know about you, but I've got like 150 of these images in my, West Marches game. So getting through them to find what I'm looking for is an enormous pain in the ass. Even better, just crazy idea, top of my head, crazy idea. why can't I grab, like, why is it when I create a map, like a battle map, a scene, right, in Roll20, that it doesn't just show up so named in my fucking journal? Like, I should be able to reference it in either place. And if I click on it in the journal, it should take me to the map. And if I right click on it in the journal and go move the players here, it should move them there. It would make it searchable. It would make it way fucking better than it is. You could even have the tokens that are on the map as like sub objects to the fucking map. Like, anyway, as a software engineer, I find this design choice offensive, but that's just me. Anyway, so yeah, what I would suggest is fill that little bad boy up with a couple of really rudimentary things that you're probably going to need. Generic buildings are great. Generic, anything is great, right? Another really great resource is to take like a really big castle map. The one that I've grabbed is Mount Saint Michel. It's one of my favorite castles in France, and I found a floor map for it, and it's beautiful, and it's a huge map. And so what happens is if I need a location and I don't have one ready in the map, the player's like, oh yeah, we're going to this, or we're running a game and I don't have a plan, I can grab a chunk of that map. I've already set up the lighting in it, and so all I have to do is put them in a different location in the map, and they really don't know like where they are, right? Like, as long as we only use the chunk of the map that I've kind of set aside for that, it could be any castle, right? Now, it just so happens that the players who were there recognized which castle they were in, and that is the same castle that they were afraid of being in, so it kind of worked out dramatically for me. But yeah, that is something that I would suggest doing, is setting up a board that is just like a huge, castle or town map or something, and then that way what you can do is you can kind of zoom in. You don't usually need battle map stuff at that level, but if you do need it, you'll have it. So yeah, that's basically my advice. I know it's perfect. You're not gonna tell me. Cool. Oh, and I'm erasing things randomly because I'm not paying attention. So that's what I get for doing that. All right. Katie. Hi, Katie. Okay, we're gonna do a little more detailing on the kitty. All right, let me look at what we got to talk about next, if there is in fact anything. We're almost at an hour of streaming, which is good, I think. Yeah, that's a normal one. Interesting. Okay. Matthew Gray writes, doing the the quotes sound argument puzzle. It's easily solved, but requires the players to present a sound argument to the question. The one I read was, is it an owlbear chick or an owlbear cub? But I'm looking to flavor into a different debate for an orcish seer whose spirit has split in two instead of being at peace. Spelled peace wrong. It's P-E-A-C-E, not P-I-E-C-E. So I need something that is orcish in flavor and doesn't have a right answer, but requires the players to present a logical argument. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that described as a sound argument puzzle, but I like it, actually. I think I'm gonna... I don't know if it's stealing. Well, yeah, I mean, steal, right? That should be like the DM motto of all time, is fucking steal. But I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna use that in my own shit. I like that. It's a cool idea. Interesting. Um. Oh God. All right. Sorry. But this fur texture isn't really coming out all that bad. It's not fantastic, but it's definitely not as bad as I was imagining it was going to be. And down here, this is kind of this is the part that I've been looking forward to, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Which is the shiny cat mouth. Which doesn't look good at all, actually. Yeah, that looks total garbo. But I think it only looks total garbo because I've not done the required work here. Give this attention, right? In there, actually, also this nose here needs to be nice and much darker than it was before. So so let's spitball. Let's think about some ideas. What could work for orcish? An orcish puzzle that requires a sound argument to solve. So oftentimes I think of orcs as being yeah, man, that really sucks. Orcs orcs in my mind have always kind of represented a stand-in for natives. And so in my mind I try to apply like kind of more indigenous style thinking to them, which does not necessarily mean that they're like warlike. It just kind of means that they're usually misunderstood by colonials and kind of poorly treated, which makes them appear warlike to Eurocentric Garbo. Anyway, so yeah, I think I would think that like a question that kind of hones in on something like about the relationship between beings and the planet that they live on, right? Or like the world that they live in, could be an interesting kind of line of questioning. And yeah, God, that's such a good question. I really, I'm not gonna lie, I don't have any really great answers to it. I keep wiping this thing like I have fucking eraser marks on it or something. I totally don't. It's great. Ha ha ha. Alright, I'm gonna bring this down a bit. Start doing a little more detail work. In fact, I'm gonna pop another layer here so we can do this on top. I really want this nose to just be cute as a button. Oh, you know what? That's another reason this doesn't quite look right. Is I got the light down here, but I don't have the matching light. There's like a little bit of light right there on the nose, and just a little sneak of light right there. And punch this up in size just a hair. This side of the nose has some shiny shinies on it. Make the cat kind of look like its nose is. This. So this kind of needs some lighter. All right. And it kind of reminds me of my friend Stormy's cat, Stumbelina. She's a cutie beauty. Oh, cutie baby. I love tabby cats so much. They're just the most beautiful little animals. I miss my baby Bella so much. Anyway, oh, so I don't know if I ever mentioned, if I finished telling the story about what else we released today, but very excited that today I was able to set up some merch for the first time, some shirts on the Watcher DM web store, so you can go and pick up a shirt with some of the bespoke art that we have had created for some of our modules, with, I think, relatively clever sayings on them. But I wrote them, so I don't think they're clever. They're definitely not getting published. But I'm actually, I want to do the rest of the pieces, and I am going to be bothering my author with the task of coming up with cool shirt slogans to go along with these, or to go on them. Let's bring this. Let's get these fine. Let's get these little fine hairs going in here. Oh gosh. Oh jeez. Looks so good. Alright. I feel like this down here is kind of fucked up. I'll have to solve that later. Not there. Not fine. Little. Oh gosh. Okay. This is interesting. So it turns out the way that the light is actually set up on this eye is deeper into this shadow. God, that looks so fucking goofy though. It must just be that there's so much shadow here. I've somehow screwed that up. We'll put that there. Put that there. It's Kitty! I learned how to draw Kitty. It needs whiskers still. I gotta do the whiskers now. Right. Do it. You ready, cat? 1, 2. Oh god! Oh my god, this is fun. Whiskers are the shit, dude. When do I get whiskers? I want whiskers now. Okay, they're a little long. Don't judge. Alright. Time for the other side. Can we do it? Can it be done? Now, what's super interesting about this? Okay. So, big problem, right? Is I have, of course, the white background. Like, who needs it? No such thing as a white background. Oh, there's my cat. There's the fucking drawing I've been doing this whole time. I love how you can just set the background color, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's all this stuff that you were missing, by the way. Anyway, so now down here, what we get is a really interesting kind of combination of, oh god, I'm drawing on the wrong fucking layer. Fur and what appears to be whiskers. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. There we go. And I think as long as we mix these in here, we'll get a pretty good looking red. So one of the interesting characteristics about this is what we're seeing here is not whiskers that are white. How to roll yourself up to Tabaxi. It is looking pretty good, right? And I like cats. I think I do not like Tabaxi very much. My mom bought a shirt from me, I think. We received. So I don't want to seem as lame and desperate as I fucking definitely am. But this is literally the first purchase on our website that is more than like $4. Kind of want to do a Cheshire Cat Alice adventure. Ooh, you want me to draw a Cheshire? By the way, you know what? One thing I have kind of failed to do here, and also, hi Austin, it's good to see you, buddy. Is I have not shown you what the reference is, and I kind of feel like maybe I should, so you can see. Like, I don't know. You can judge. You judge me. You tell me if this is what should, like, if I'm approaching at things. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. What am I saying? In live scene browser. I don't want Explorer. I want Brave. Okay, cool. Done. Yeah. Oh god, you know what? Now that I look at it side by side here on the screen, it does not look very similar. I need to do a lot of work. And I could have actually short circuited this and done a much better job here. I will transition, and you can see this is the drawing I'm working off of, or this is the photograph that I'm working off of. So this is reference. And yeah, it does not look very much like it. So I can see where the mistakes are now. In that the cat that I'm drawing, the eyes are much bigger. So, one thing I might be able to do here is, and this, I'm probably way too late to actually do this correctly. Oh, hold on. Action required. Oh, shit. Mom. Damn it. Thanks for testing that, Mom. So, Yeah, I need to fix a thing on the website. Actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna go tell her that that's what's going on. I'm an idiot because I put them on. I will fix that and just give me a minute. I have to finish. Thank you. It turns out, by the way, that if you're trying to sell things to people that needs to be shipped, you need to be able to take their addresses, which is functionality that I removed from our website because I was only selling digital crap. So, Austin, to the Alice in Wonderland thing, I did. Mom and I went to Indigo Bookstore today, and I saw they have an Alice in Wonderland scavenger hunt game that's out, and then also like a box, an Alice in Wonderland box game that was like a throwing game. Like it was like a toss game with like sacks, like little sack toss game. Really interesting concept. But maybe check those out. I don't know how good they are. Or if it's even remotely a good product worth checking out, actually. But it is something I saw today. Might as well mention it. And I ran a Alice in Wonderland kind of themed D&D game one time for Stevie's birthday party. And it was pretty fun. We had a really good time with it. Actually, it was really fun. Merge down. Oh god, I've ruined it. Oh no, I haven't. Actually, it kind of looks better. It kind of looks a little bit better. All right. Anyway, the important thing that I need to do here is I need to get the eye. Oh god. Both of the eyes. Okay, this is going to be tricky. And edit, transform. I think we're going to go with distort because kind of what's going to go on here. I don't really have a good. I think I can distort these in a little bit. Maybe even relock this. That actually looks substantially better. I had the eyes were just too big. Too big. That looks way better. It does look way better. Why, thank you, Gabe. Alright, now that I have that kind of fixed, now I need to fix the rest of the shit around it, which turns out not that hard. I just pop this on and up my brush size a little bit. Good? We good here? What's up? What the fuck is going on here? Oh, right. This is because. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna normal this for now. So I can get these colors on, and then we'll start working through the other stuff. If I do that in multiply mode, it'll be fucked. So, just gonna use this to fix cat's face here a bit, and ignore the fact that this gray is not the right color because I will be coming back in and fixing that, but I just can't have these gaps. Just kind of need them to have some color in them, and then I can fix them appropriately later. Yeah, okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So now I can kind of start this, and some of this going on over here a little bit of fur. This a little bit. And actually, there's kind of a missing. There we go. Anyway, the shirts. Go buy shirts. Don't buy shirts yet, actually, because I need to fix the shipping problem, which I'll be doing immediately after this stream. But we do have shirts, and they're going to be great as soon as we can get them. But I'm really excited. We got the Sphinx of Black Quartz was on a shirt saying "You like riddles," which I love. I think it looks good. And yeah, see, this is supposed to be like a much longer stripe here, and there's like another whole vein of really rich, dark supposed to go right there, and all that stuff was missing. It was all squished before. Now it's not squished. Now it's right where it's supposed to be. This can be a little bit bigger. This can be a little bit bigger. It looks even more like a real cat now. Kinda. The one eye's a little bit wonky. God damn it. There's another trick is flip it and see how stupid your cat looks now. This eye looks derpy AF. Oh my god. It's so bad. Alright, I'm ripping. We're doing it again. We're going in for another surgery. Fucking. I'm not sure what's wrong with you, kitty. Is you too close to the nose? I feel like maybe it's too close to the nose. I feel like I feel like this is maybe just better right here. Squint. Get in another context. It needs to be lower. We'll see. Move it down a bit. Damn it. Fuck. This. Yeah, I think that's right. So it's the right position. It's the wrong. Like, there's obviously a bunch of stuff around it that needs to get fixed. Let's fix it. Where was I? Right here. And then we've got, of course, the wonderful civilized toads saying "lick me." They have bufotoxin. That's what you do with toads that secrete bufotoxin. Lick them. Especially if you are looking for interdimensional thrills like a goddamn animal. Or a moon elf, in particular case. Yeah, see, I was wondering, I was like, where the fuck is this extra thing coming from? But there's this whole dark patch in this image that I wasn't capturing before, and I was like, I felt like there's a gap that's just needed, and I couldn't find where it was, and now I know where it is. Unfortunately, I think it also kind of invalidates. Oh, you know what else is going on here? That I just now noticed? Cat's right eye is more dilated than its left eye. And that's going to make my image look wonky no matter what. No matter fucking what, man. So I think we're just going to have to deal. Anyway, yay, fun. Honestly, this was just a test. I was just doing some drawing. I think this is absolutely fine for progress for an hour, barely, in 20 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, whilst reading internet boo-ha. Perfectly acceptable practice. Cat. Okays. Close the thing. Um, yeah, lots of exciting stuff going on. I've been really pleased with this too, this Midna piece that I've been working on. Want to work on it some more. But it's kind of one of the first digital paintings that I've gone and done like the values and then done the colors, and I'm still working the colors, I'm still working stuff, but like I'm like, this is the best looking metallic piece of thing I've ever rendered probably in my life. So, and I know it's not that good yet, but it's getting better, and I'm pleased that it's getting better. Also, I'm in love with this little piece of rubber, like this piece of leather with this gem in it, because I'm dumb, and that's the kind of shit that I love, but I think it's amazing. Alright, I'm going to do, I need to get back to this website thing, so I'm going to read one more feedback. I'm going to do one more Q&A, D&D Q&A. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is interesting. So, from Dungeon Master Resources, it's another group I'm in on the Facebook. TJ Strickland created a poll 7 hours ago. Question. Recently, it was stated that any lore before 2014 is not acceptable to Faerun 5e. Just wondering how everyone feels about that. I love that the I love that the answers here are like, so the most popular answer with 41 votes is lore is nice to play around with, which doesn't answer the question at all. It's nice, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I wish I could take any credit for the character design. To be perfectly honest, this is what happened was I sat down and I watched David Greco one night. If you don't know who David Greco is, go watch him. He's amazing. Go follow him on all the things. Greco is his online his last name. And this is a character he's drawing for a friend of his that he plays with. This is actually a character from Final Fantasy XIV, which I am also now playing. Kind of too much, TBH, for somebody who's trying to do so many things. But yeah, it's Midna is the character name, and I think she's a really beautiful character. His version of her, of course, is much more complete. It's in a full whole thing. It's a really beautiful drawing, so definitely go check out his version, and you will see where the corset comes from. In fact, this whole drawing is basically me drawing what he's drawing. So I am trying to learn by doing, again, using reference and learning how he renders and kind of learning how to do art by using his process. And I've got to say it's working. I'm not, y'all known me for a while. I've done a bunch of art, and I would say the art that I've been producing in the last week has been head and shoulders better than the art I was producing the week before. And that's kind of been just a thing that's been progressing, and I owe a lot of that to David Greco. So thank you, David Greco. If you ever watch my videos, we should play Final Fantasy XIV together. Just kidding. I know that'll never happen. Anyway, so answers to this question. I love the second one. What's a Faerun? It's a totally valid question. What the fuck is a Faerun? Third answer with 10 votes. I hardly use lore. 6 votes has lore is extremely important. And then 4, no lore. I homebrew all my Faerun adventures. I'm going to ironically say what's a Faerun, because I don't care. Like, when have I ever cared what dungeons? In fact, I used to have a friend, and we got into a pretty heated series of arguments about this, because he was kind of trying to become like a Dungeons and Dragons lore master, right? Like, he knew all the lore from all the shit and all the things they had ever published. And I was like, why would you waste your time with that? It seems like such a nonsense exercise. Like, unless it's relevant to the context of an adventure that your players are in, you just sit around the table and tell them about lore. I can tell you it's not as fun as it sounds, my dude. And of course, I've always been on the side of like, I would never use Cool. Yes. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, do you also do the arts? Because if you do the arts, you should definitely try and do this shit. It's pretty fun. I'm having a blast. And if you ever want somebody to sit around and draw with, I'm into it. But yeah, I've always been of the opinion that like the Wizards of the Coast lore. How do I say this? It's good for novels. It's okay. It's okay for novels. It's okay for movies. It's barely passable for most games. I don't think that the Wizards of the Coast lore is sets a very good precedent for storytelling. To be perfectly honest, most of their historical lore has been full of, I would say, pretty problematic tropes and problematic subject matter. Um, and it shows, right? It reflects in how games are run. Like the fact that we have so much wrapped up in the idea of players torturing people, right? Like that's a manifestation of poor writing. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, historically, it was a method that you could use to extract information from an enemy, and it worked if you did it. That's not how torture works. It sets a bad precedent. Like that's not at all the right like message to reflect. It doesn't reflect any kind of reality. Um, you're much more likely to get valid information out of an enemy by convincing them that you're their ally. Uh, and it's weird, but like that's if you've ever watched a cop like extract information from a criminal, that's exactly what they do. Good cop, bad cop does not work. Bad cop never gets any information, right? He's only there to shine the light on good cop and make him look good, and have him convince the baddie that that's the thing going on. Um, and also fuck the police, ACAB, what the hell? But that shit aside, I think the tropes wrapped up in the classic D&D lore and most of the stuff that they've written is why we have yeah, no, totally. I think there's a bunch of other stuff too, like one of the things you almost never see in like good D&D, like in D&D lore, is the use of non-romantic love as a powerful motivator or like story hook or solution. And it is probably the most powerful, most relevant, most used emotional, like it's what most things in human experience is about, right? So the fact that it shows up almost not at all in the context of Dungeons and Dragons, you kind of have two camps there, where like people who are into love as a mechanism in game usually tend to go straight romantic, or it's just not in the game at all, and it's like weird. That I really liked in Critical Role, by the way, spoilers for Critical Role season 2, when Veth's interaction, I'm not really going to spoil much, but Veth's interactions with her son Luke, because it kind of casted very interesting light, and Sam Riegel, the player, like struggled with it afterwards, was like, wow, like I'm a bad mother because I'm an adventurer. Like my character is a bad mother because she's an adventurer. How is she gonna cope with that? Like, and that was kind of the turning point for Veth, where she was like, look guys, like I'm done after this. Like I don't know if Sam Riegel's coming back to the show, to be perfectly honest. I think, he could. He obviously has the option to, but I don't know if he wants to. He I think more than anybody else, and again, it's because he came into this totally fresh with new, fresh eyes, right? A new set of eyes on D&D. Came in and saw it and went, wow, this is a violent, bizarre, traumatic thing that we're putting ourselves through for entertainment, and it doesn't necessarily need to be, right? I think it's possible to still have a good time playing Dungeons and Dragons and exploring it where violence isn't necessarily the best option. You are messing around with an art project on your phone this entire time? I want to see it. Oh my god. Please send it. Please send it to me. I would love to see it. I would love to work with you on some art. I'm having so much fun spending time lately just drawing and trying to get better at this craft that I've dabbled in my whole life since I was like 7 years old. I've been like, oh, I can draw, and I was always thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm really good, and then I would see other people's shit. I was like, wow, I'm really not. And then I think when I was 19, I had this like big burst of time. Actually, to be perfectly honest, no, I wasn't 19. I was 20 to 21, and I was getting clean off of bad things, and that whole time I was just going to Perkins every night and drawing, which by the way is Colorado code word for Denny's. It's just another restaurant that's like Denny's, and sit there with a bottomless cup of coffee and draw manga. Basically I was drawing anime kind of as best I could, and trying to learn that. And that experience, a lot of that was kind of when I learned how to do a lot of programming stuff that I didn't know, because I was drawing manga on a Yahoo group, I think, called You Are Drawing, and we would all like push our art around and be like, hey, look at this. So we would like collab on stuff and try and improve and shit. And eventually, in fact, I want to look up one of the old artists to see if he's still around, because I am going to fuck, I think this might be him. Maybe it's not though. I'm going to Europe, or I'm going to England next week, or next year, in Newcastle, and he used to live in Newcastle, and I don't know if he's still around or doing anything, but it would be so cool to see, like, to finally meet this artist that I used to draw with all the time. I can't seem to find it. I don't think. You know, I'm just gonna look. Just in case. So I was Cyanide, PSIONIDE, and he was Cyanix, CIONIX. But they were just user handles, so I'm sure he has grown up and stopped using his ridiculous user handle. And I'm sure it's been fucking 25 years, so I will never, probably ever see this person again. But, or hear about this person again. I have no idea. Anyway. At the time, that was like kind of a big investment time for me, where I was putting a lot of art in. And I improved a little bit, and after that I did some painting, acrylic painting, that got me a little bit farther down the road. But again, with acrylic painting, like, I was using reference and it was way better, and then I stopped using reference. Like, don't know why. I have not yet figured out why. While I have Austin and Chelsea on the line, I might as well ask, if you have time and the inclination and you're looking at the art, so the Moon Elves Masquerade, the table with the bottles and the masks, I want to put that on a shirt with a clever phrase, but I don't know what the clever phrase should be. I leave it to you, Austin, to come up with something sufficiently clever. And then also Claviceps. I would love to put him on a shirt. I think he just looks fucking fantastic. The Claviceps by Laura Lee, as Lady Laura Lee, is like It's just so good. It's just so fucking good. I'm just kind of baffled by it. I think it's so amazing. Also, I probably haven't shown you this, but I am getting the Divisible Man shirt. It's already ordered. So that is coming here, and once I can verify that the shirt isn't total garbage, I'm going to order you one, Austin, so you'll have a Divisible Man shirt. For your very own. Wear your damn masks. Oh god. If it wasn't so apropos for fucking the current bullshit, I think that would be great. Wear your damn mask. Oh god. Yeah. Anyway, think on it. Think on the Claviceps thing. Also, if you can come up with a clever phrase for the Divisible Man, that wouldn't suck either. I kind of just got it saying the Divisible Man. So, yeah, of course. It was, as soon as we got that art, you were like, I want that on a shirt. I was like, okay, I gotta actually go figure out how fucking shirts work. And so, yeah, I went and I finally got that kind of unlocked today. Obviously not completely, so. Okay, well, Chelsea, I will tell you what. You don't have to buy the shirts. What you should do is set up the merch for me. I will show you the account, and you can go in there and set things up and automatically add stuff to the store. And if you don't mind, help me promote the products from the store, and I will give you I will buy the things for you. I will pay you in clothing. But yeah. If that is a fine agreement for you, it's a fine agreement for me. But yeah, that was pretty funny. Ooh. God, I was thinking, like, his name is so, like, his name is clever, but it's kind of on the nose for something that I don't think. Well, I don't know it, right? I don't know if it represents him, right? I would love it if some part of his name was an anagram for left and right, the way that we spelled them. Because I love the idea that as he splits apart, his name becomes split right between the two. Like, each of them has a section of his name. You're 100% down to be paid in shirts. Well, I'm sorry. I should rephrase that. It's not just shirts. Any merch you set up, I will be sending to you to validate the quality of. And they have it's Printify, I think, is the site. Printify. And they have, let me log into this. Yep, I'm back. Let me in. Why did you log me out? That seems so strange. So strange. Whoa. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this isn't. Maybe that's not the site. Aw. I'm a heckin' confused. I could have swore that was the website. Okay. I'll just go log in on my website and see what the fuck. You like riddles? I love it. I love it so much. I think it looks so good. The toad looks great on a black t-shirt too. Good call. Oh, hey, traffic is way up today. Thanks so much, everyone, for visiting the website and poking around. And peeking and poking. I appreciate it. It helps me feel like we're doing something useful for people. Printful. Printful. That's why it didn't work. That's good to know. Printful. Cool. There we go. Oh. Cool. Free shipping to Canada until August 2nd. Time to order some shit, dog. Store product templates. So, create more product templates. So what they have, they got fucking everything. You got hats, accessories including duffel bags, jewelry, laptop cases, face masks. We could get the face masks done as masks. Should be hilarious. Keychains, phone cases, tote bags, drawstring bags, backpacks, fanny packs, socks. Ooh, socks though. Divisible Man socks. Flip-flops. Divisible Man flip-flops also would be fantastic. So that's just accessories. What's going on here? Whoa, God. A ton of hats. They have home and living. They have water bottles, postcards, mugs, notebooks, stickers, blankets, flags, pillows. We could do wall art, which is actually something that I definitely want to do with the Divisible Man. I want to get that on a wall, on a poster. Beanbags. Beanbag chairs. I'm sure they're garbage, but who the fuck cares? Like, having a beanbag chair with, like, bespoke D&D art on it would be, I don't know, I'm kind of into it. I'm here for it. I'm living that dream. Towels and shit, like, they have a whole home and living section. There's all kinds of stuff. And then they have, like, collections, and some other stuff, which all seems pretty mundane. It's nothing too crazy. And then they have different brands of clothing you can get into. So like they'll take a brand of clothing and print your stuff on it, which I don't really give a shit about because I don't really care about what I wear. But I imagine for people that do, it might be nice. But yeah, even just like a coffee mug or a water bottle, I think would be genius. Like we could definitely do that, and I think it would be really fun. I also love wearing hats, so I'd be down to get a hat. And they've got a fairly nice little variety of hats. They have bucket hats and beanies, mesh hats, 5-panel hats, trucker hats, snapbacks, dad hats. They literally call them dad hats. Wow, those are exactly the hats I used to wear. God, I'm old. Yeah, well, let me get these products in and fix the fucking website. And as soon as I get like verified that the quality of this first batch isn't total shite and that we like need a different solution, I will plug you into this website and get you started on this and make some heckin' products. The only brand I care about is Watcher DM. I'm fucking dabbing for that shit. That's amazing. I love you guys so much. Yeah. Also, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, but I figured out how to do this is for anybody who's watching this. Holy shit! I finally figured out how to publish 5e content on DriveThruRPG without needing to subscribe to the whole bullshit of DM's Guild. So little background here. DM's Guild is a venue upon which you can sell Dungeons & Dragons content. And because of the way that their licensing is set up, they take 50% cut of whatever you sell, and you can use all of the Wizards, like a bunch of the Wizards of the Coast bullshit, like that you can't normally use. It's not in the open gaming license. We don't write that kind of D&D shit, so I've been like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to sell on DM's Guild because it seems kind of like not my thing, not what I'm trying to do. But then if you go into DriveThruRPG, the obvious route for publishing stuff is through community content. And the community content pathway is very explicit. You have to have a program. And the programs are all based on different rule sets. So if you're writing Savage Worlds content or Cyberpunk content, there has to be a community program for that content, and that allows you to use the rules and write for the licensed content of that type of rule set. Finally, I found the post on Reddit where somebody was like, oh yeah, to do this properly, you need to set up a publisher account on DriveThruRPG, which is done through some page on DriveThruRPG. So you go create a publisher account, and that allows you to publish kind of anything you want on DriveThruRPG, and they have two license types. One is it's exclusive, where it'll only be sold on DriveThruRPG and its affiliate sites. For, I think, you get 70%, they get 30% cut, and for an additional 5%, they don't give a shit. You can sell it wherever the fuck you want. So I'm like, holy crap. So I just put up the Doom Desert and the Decanter of Delirium and Dusk Till Death, which are the two that are past the 30 days. And on this 27th, when Druid of Ravenhenge goes off of being free, that one will also go on to DriveThruRPG. And as a test of this, a long time ago, I put up Desecration at Silverfire Abbey on DM's Guild to see just what the traffic would be like. I did zero promotion of it, and it's not a good module. It's like barely mediocre. It's okay. It's not that bad. Like, I made it myself. It was my first like kind of attempt at this, and it's all right, but it's not anywhere near anything that we've done since. And all by itself, it has gotten more downloads than everything on our site combined. So I think that, like, between that and a little promotion, like, we actually stand to move some fucking units and actually get people using it. So I think that's exciting news. And we're selling them for the retail price. So it's $5.99 for the Doom Desert. It'll be $5.99 for Moon Elves. It'll be $3.99 for the smaller books, right? The 3,000 word ish books. Which, again, another new book coming out next week. Lycan Cultists. Theoretically, I'm not going to commit to a date, but we are going to try and land another module next week. Lycan Cultists. So look out for that. Chelsea, Austin, it's been wonderful hanging out with you. I'm going to go fix our website problem, and I will talk to everybody later. Thank you so much.